Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Still waking up. It's 4 a.m. bright and early over here on the west coast of North America, but we're up at any odd hour for some good StarCraft 2. We're, of course, casting day number 2. No, this is day 3, actually. Whoa. Of the GFINITY Spring Masters. I'm Rifkin coming at you with Zombie Grub. And spawning here in the top left corner of the map from Evil Geniuses. You know him, you love him. It's the Blue Zerg, JaeDong.
In the bottom right, as the red Protoss, at Dead Pixel's Patience.
And he's been given a strict ultimatum in chat by the one and only Oli Moly. Says, Patience win or don't come home. Of course, for those who don't know, Patience and True both live at the Axiom House when they are in Korea. And really nice guy. I really enjoy talking with Patience. His English is actually fairly good. And he's quite talkative when you actually get a moment or two where he's not playing games. JaeDong, on the other hand, for a majority of his, like, he's kind of been this godlike figure, a huge celebrity in the StarCraft scene. It blew me away when I remember he asked us to play one of our tournaments, and I was just like, whoa, really? Like, this is so cool. JaeDong is a super nice guy as well. We just see Patience on a much more regular basis.
Well, JaeDong's been out of the loop for a while, only recently really coming into the tournament scene again and not performing incredibly well. His actual games, for the most part, have not been bad, I will say. Maybe a little disappointing to everyone because, of course, he is one of the hypest characters ever in StarCraft 2. Everyone always wants him to do well and sometimes expects him to do well, but in regards to today, compared to the rest of the tournament, JaeDong was in a group with one other Protoss, and that was Showtime. So unfortunately, actually, I'm not so sure we can really get a lot from that. The games, from what I saw, really couldn't pay that much attention, were fairly easy for JaeDong, but I would put Showtime and Patience in two different categories, so...
It's weird, because you wouldn't normally do that. It's foreigner versus Korean. One's obviously way better than the other, but... Showtime is like one of the best foreign Protoss there are, and I don't know. You say you put them in a different category, and I agree. Only based off of play style, though. I'd say a lot less than say skill or results or anything like that. One thing I do find interesting though is we talked about this. I know yesterday we were just kind of goofing around a little bit, but JaeDong, he's been very solid with his ZVZs. Everyone knows this. You can always count on JaeDong to usually perform well in a ZVZ, but his ZVP and ZVT has always fluctuated pretty sporadically, I'd say, especially from what we've seen out of him, much less what he's done in Korea or with Evil Geniuses or in the big leagues. So I am a little bit curious where he currently sits. As you pointed out, he was kind of gone for some time, reappeared for WCS America, and thank God he got through on the first one. He didn't have the struggles for the WCS qualifiers that Stardust did.
Yeah, that was really easy for him, but it also kind of had an easy bracket, I would say. He got the #1 seed didn't actually curse him like other people.
Well, I mean, you could argue Stardust wasn't that bad of a bracket either. You really don't expect someone
Usually,
like Taiga to knock him out. I mean, I love Taiga to death. I'm a big Taiga fanboy, but yeah, Taiga versus Stardust, I call Stardust every single time,
Yeah, it's definitely true. Well, just back to Showtime, because this is the only thing we have recently, as in like yesterday, right? For JaeDong's versus Protoss, just that Showtime didn't really look like he was on board, right? Because like on the late game, I totally called Showtime maybe taking that group, right? If he could, really show strong in PvZ and take down Hyun and JaeDong, I think it was definitely possible. It didn't actually look that strong from what I saw. Maybe chat will clear things up and be like, well, actually no, just like one big mistake. I don't actually know, but the thing about JaeDong is that we just said fluctuate, and sometimes that can fluctuate literally from day to day too, which is really what's disappointing.
Nice
it's frustrating to be a JaeDong fan sometimes. And yeah, that was a nice kill. Seems like that never happens. Usually Overlords are well in position by now.
Well, not only that, but the fact that he dives to 2 Queen Spread, I wasn't quite sure what direction that was going to go, but not too bad. And he keeps them alive, so for now, I'll put an asterisk. If he sits on the side of the map too long, Lings are going to get that strat. Now, speed's not been started for JaeDong. This is fairly important. For me, that says basically he's not planning to stick on Lings and waiting to see a Roach Warren or something else come down. I mean, I know your gas is started a little bit later when you go with this build, but if he is going to stick with Lings, I mean, layer over speed is the strange priority.
It is. Well, just like not a Roach Warren yet.
Oh, nice round.
Oh, that was almost nice around because the Stalker really should never die to a slow Ling.
Wow.
So that would have been really nice had he gotten it. But there does start speed now. Like he's totally going to, go the game without it. It is pretty nice upgrade to have, even in the late game. Start running around, being quite annoying. And of course, JaeDong really known for that type of style of play. Very aggressive, very multitasking, mutas and Lings, fastest things you can get as a Zerg player.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, JaeDong playing Hydra Ling too is a scary thing to look out for. Something that we might just end up seeing speed. I mean, okay, it starts a little bit later than I would have expected, but I am curious to see if the Roach Horn is going to be used or if it's just kind of for some mid-early game buffer, cheap units, good units, stop all-ins. Patient's not really that big of an all-in player, though. Going back to that playstyle discussion from the start of this cast, and he's not someone to really just go 7 gates, YOLO it up, right? We see a lot of 2-0s in the group, and we see a lot of really quick, like, 5-minute games, but Patience is the last guy I would expect that from. And I imagine JaeDong's also in that same boat. When you're around as long as he's been, you don't even need to study your opponents. You've just played them enough over time to know, oh, it's Patience. Check 1, check 2. Ooh,
well,
didn't want to reveal that. Cancels to rebuild after the Phoenix passes. I don't think Patience saw it. Okay, so this is gonna be if this is gonna be a fast hive, this is something that might just catch Patience off guard. He's going for a lot of sentries. He's going for what is possibly Blink Stalkers. This is something that Ultralists can deal with pretty well. At the same time, though, we've seen these weird sort of fungal growth styles emerge. And without the dedication to melee, I am really curious what direction this Infestation Pit takes it.
I think it's just gonna be for Vipers.
That's very true.
Hydra Viper. Yeah, that's what a lot of Zergs are starting off with, right? That's what they were just for the entirety of Heart of the Swarm, actually. Like that really hasn't changed. It's the transition that's changed, Instead of Swarm Host being the backup, both oh shit unit and I'm doing pretty well unit. Let me extend my lead. Swarm Host is just the way to go after any type of push. Now it is like, we will have to be curious and see, like, okay, well, the Viper push is going to come whenever it does, and hopefully it'll do well for JaeDong. But then what? Then what happens after that? It's going to be, like, mutas. I mean, JaeDong, back when the transition to mutas was the most popular way to go, he was pretty good versus Protoss. Just, obviously very good with mutas. Swarm Host was never his thing anyway. So you would think that, versus Protoss is actually kind of getting a little bit better now that he has actually no choice to go Swarm Host. JaeDong, no.
These Phoenix hallucinations a little bit distracted because, of course, he's busy on the other side of the map. I also want to point out 2 Phoenix hallucinations did not scout either the Infestation Pit or the Hive morphing in. Like, that really? Still looks like, look at this vision. That looks like, there we go, now he sees it. That was still there. Like, that was right on the cusp of vision. I swear, it's almost like you could look at the hatchery, right? That was really weird, but 4 bases for JaeDong, lots of creep spread, good connections between them. Hydra's on the way. And still, this pressure with the Roaches and Lings, it's such a light dedication. I love this. Like, it's not 20 Roaches, and he's not posturing with an army that gets caught in the force field and suddenly it's game over. This is seriously, like, even if all these units get caught, it's actually not that big of a loss for JaeDong.
No, not very big, no. But both players have really gotten away being very greedy with the entire game, so... JaeDong, yeah, but Patience too. Got up to that 3rd base really easily. So JaeDong hasn't really exploded in supply yet, but he's also now building those Roaches that are going to go in front of those Hydras that he's building right now. So it should have to be, happen soon.
Breaks the wall, force field to catch the Roaches.
He's got a lot of cannons here.
Yeah, and the Lings only kill like 1 probe through this.
Yeah, not the best use right there, but they did their job. You just went over it, so... Patience doesn't really have an opportunity to immediately counterattack because you go down like 40 supply of Roaches. Like, no, it didn't happen, so... 23 Roaches finally on the way. There's the big increase in supply that comes with, just getting the fodder out, basically, for the Hydras. As you can see, Patience did end up... Well, he did a lot of harass the Zealots. That's really nice. His Warp Zone doing even more in the main base. Very nice indeed, but... Patience decided to go for Storm over Colossus as fast as possible, but he is getting both.
I don't disagree with this choice. You kind of mentioned the Viper thing being more and more common, especially with no one being able to go for Swarm Hosts. So it's just the assumption that Vipers are going to be out whether you scout them or not. A couple of feedbacks here and there are always going to be great, and if you're going to have the Templar, might as well invest in the AoE anyways. Ooh, hallucinating 3 Colossus is kind of cool.
Well, I guess with that army...
Even if you waste an Abduct, this is actually a pretty big deal. There we go.
exactly what he does. So that almost goes down way too fast. It's like, okay, jerks.
I bet you patient. I wish we had player games. You probably have the biggest smile on his face. He's just like, ha ha ha.
I gotcha.
A real good use of the abducts would actually be to catch that warp prism, but of course he's busy focused on the side of the map. That warp prism not exactly an immediate threat. JaeDong has left some roaches in the main. I like this choice quite a bit, but still it's a problem where that's a decent supply. It's not with his army.
Yeah, yeah. Without the High Templars, it's a little scary, but again, grabs the wrong Colossus, and they're the High Templars. Grabs a Stalker, I think that was on purpose.
Finally gets one of the real Colossus. Almost wasn't sure if he would even focus it down, but the storms just annihilate JaeDong. I mean, this fight didn't even last long enough for us to hype it up.
Yeah, but the Shipper does go down without getting anything off. I don't know if you would know, time warps, but that's, you know, that's only if JaeDong had like a counterattack set up and it would be like, oh, well now it kind of sucks, but he doesn't, and this army, gets a couple free Hydras. It's pretty big, all right? And JaeDong did have a bank, so he is, starting to get the units back out, but they're coming a little bit, well, the Hydra's coming out first.
Yeah, this might this might be okay, though, because it's not 4 or 5 Colossus behind it, it's 1. The sentries don't have a lot of energy, so there'll be some force fields here, but that's kind of it for the force fields. If you can just consolidate up, I mean, he's coming from the backside, too. Hydras and Roaches trying to get on top of this from the backside. Force field's about to wear out in just a few seconds. Archon goes down in this army. Mostly just Stalkers if he can get rid of that one Colossus.
Yeah, I think the back attack, it was a little mistimed, ended up being though. Oh, okay, so it's not going to be enough. Because I was going to say, I was more worried about the playing Stalkers than I was about the Colossus +3. Still not quite finished up, but was finishing up. But that back attack almost changed things around. But now Patience has the ramp control. Even if he does, what do you abducts into? Nothing.
Yeah, true enough. Patience may have just spiraled a little too far. Those sentries barely had any energy, but they managed to get 2 very important force fields off. Roaches and Hydras down here are going to try and deal with the reinforcements, but a blink to the side, and this is not looking good for JaeDong. A lot of cool moves this game ahead of him, but I gotta tell you, it might not seem like a big deal, but those like 3 or 4 fake abducts, the hallucinations, that was such a cool move out of Patience.